Hello and welcome to RSIWTL. I think I got that right. Or also known as Random Shit I Wanted to Learn. Thanks to those that come from the future, from the far future, to see the start of this series. But also, hello to those that have never been here before, because this is the first video of this series, obviously. The first couple episodes of this series are going to be a little different from the rest that I have planned. Currently, these are going to be recollections of what I've already done, and basically put them into a short form video for you to view. In the future, they're probably going to be more on the moment type stuff, and you will see my live reactions and etc. But all in all, I hope you enjoy these first couple ones, as the rest are going to be even more fun. Now, I have a question for you. Do you like AI? Depending on your answer, I feel like you're going to either stay or leave this video. I like this AI. I don't very much like this AI. I'm not going to go into how AI is harmful to the environment. This is not that type of video. If you want to learn more about that, you can go do your own research. There's plenty of stuff out there on the internet for something like that. I am not a grand supporter of AI. I'm just someone who's curious about how it all works. I wanted to see if I can make something like Nero-sama.
Is VTL's code like this LMAO? Oops.
So to start off, everything that I wanted to have had to have run locally. I don't want to send stuff to servers for them to generate a response, because then that means I'm not using my own resources. And using my own resources means that I am doing stuff for free without having to spend the money that I do not have. A quick disclaimer, I am no expert in AI whatsoever. Most of the code that I've been using here is from friends and different forums that I found on the internet, and of course I'm coding in Python. I'm no expert in all this. In the beginning, you obviously want to train your AI model if you want to make an AI model. However, I was the type to type in my own training material, right? That's a bit of a long wait. However, just like Virgil in DMC3,
why isn't this working?
I wasn't that very clever. I could just never get things to really work. This was until the beginning of summer 2025, where I got tired of creating different game projects that I had to do for my university. One big planned project, but you know, that doesn't matter. That's maybe for another video. So I decided to revisit a project that I haven't checked out in a long time. A year's worth of time, because I just wasn't all that clever. CC. My dumbass AI. So what is CC's name anyway? What is CC, right? I don't know, man. Have you seen Code Geass? Like, it's typed in CC, but then it's like C2. Cognitive contradiction. I thought it was cool at the time. Okay, so this time around I went to do a bit more research on how I can make different AIs. You know, a whole year has passed, so there's probably some different stuff, which eventually led me to Mistral and its separate different models. Mistral has different types of AI models. It would entirely depend on your PC and which ones you could run, because the higher you go in the big number, the more resources that model would use of your computer. In simplest terms, I downloaded the brain of the AI. Now, it may feel a lot like cheating. After all, I'm just downloading a brain. Is it really my own AI when I'm just changing some options and parameters in an AI that already exists? Well, I think more so that it's adopting the AI. I'm going to raise it into something brilliant, something that could change the world. Well, now we have the actual brain of the AI. Let's give it a way to communicate with us.
One of my arms is a fish. I'm gonna kiss your dad with my weird fish arm.
An AI, after all, is a piece of machine. If we give it some random text that it doesn't really know how to understand, it will just spit gibberish back at us. So we need a thing of a translator, I'm gonna call it. Now, I'm not gonna go into too much detail, but I went into Cobbled. What is Cobbled? I don't know, man. I don't have to tell you anything. All I really know is that what it does is that it created a local backend. I don't know what that means. That's just what it's called, where I would give it the text, it would translate it for the AI to understand. It would then generate a response by using my goddamn RAM, CPU, and GPU. It would all do this through a thing called tokens. What are tokens? Now, tokens are like different letters for the AI. That's as much as I'm going to go into. Now, why didn't I go with some other options that I think I saw, like llama or something like that? Because from half the time, what I saw is that they didn't create responses locally, or they simply just didn't give me enough options to change my own AI brain, you know? What's the point if I can't change the brain that I'm trying to translate with? That's a weird way to put it. Like, imagine translating for someone and then you go into their mind to make them think differently just because you're translating. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I put it weird. Now, all I needed is for my AI to have a UI to talk through me, you know, put in some text for myself. A friend of mine told me something to use in Python. I grabbed it, slapped into my code, and boom, we got an AI. Well, that was certainly quick, wasn't it? Let's type in a response. You know, what if we type in another response? Now let me quickly tell you about my AI. His name is Cognitive Contradiction, or CC for short. He is a little prick based on a red archer from a certain franchise. You can see all of his rules back here if you're really interested. I'm not going to keep it on for long because it is pretty dumb. I wanted to make this guy a guy because there's already so many female AI VTubers. Why not throw a guy in the ring for once, you know? Now let me tell you all the bad parts I skipped to make this look so easy. So obviously this guy is not very smart, especially when I started using my own interface that wasn't provided by Cobol. This was especially true because I had to add my own rules back into him, which Cobol just wouldn't provide through the API. So this dude sometimes just started randomly adding his own AI or friends, I want to call them, like it's a group chat of some sort. And since when I refer to myself as 101, he randomly added 102 as if it's another me. Who's 102? So there was an actual easy fix. You would have to basically add these stop parameters, or as I would like to call them.
Stop acting like you know the way ahead, like you know the rules.
You want the AI to also have some sort of memory for it to refer to. You would just append it into the text where you would, you know, start typing for the AI to understand. However, it was a pretty funny result when you just couldn't remember anything that you were asking and it just got what out of context. Honestly, let's go back to before I even had the AI working. There were so many different models that I had to choose from, which I eventually settled for Mistral 7B, but a lot of them just required you to have a dedicated server with some of the most powerful PCs out there that are for specifically AI, which I just simply couldn't handle with my 3080. Like 90% of models that were like from Facebook or from Google, my computer just couldn't handle whatsoever. So eventually you would just sit there, experiment with a bunch of different types of AI that you could possibly use, you know, experiment with different backends. Maybe this one works with this one, maybe that one works with that one. Eventually you find that perfect little combo that you could use for your own AI. Some models look even easy to use. Probably a baby could even do it, but just, you know, some of them just didn't have that customization detail that I really wanted. Like, sure, I don't see why you couldn't add that. Maybe it's a couple extra steps that I just don't understand. Of course, I don't understand. I'm not an AI expert. But in the end, I had used Keb and Mistral. So in the end, it works out, right? There were times I had to completely restart my whole entire PC because the goddamn AI just wouldn't turn off for some reason. That's probably user error, but I still had that problem. They keep eating away at my goddamn RAM, even though there wasn't anything running particularly, right? It was like 20 Google tabs open running Pac-Man, and then an additional 20 on top of that running in the background, 20 different Maxor videos at highest resolution. Making an AI is the definition of code and different processes being held together by sticks and stones and tape. Adding an additional little thing could just completely break the AI. You press Ctrl Z and it still doesn't work and you have no idea why. Well, I went on a little bit of a rant there. This is honestly not even the full journey that I went through to create this AI. Just like I didn't want to put my friend through multiple different questions of how I can make this goddamn piece of shit work, I don't want to force you guys to experience all the different crash outs that I might have suffered just trying to make this AI function to the state it is now. But I wasn't obviously very clever. There were many things that I wanted to do. So speaking of that, here's I had attempted to do something already that I just couldn't handle, or my PC just couldn't handle. One of those things being talking with the AI. So the AI talking to me. There were different models that I could use, obviously, for text-to-speech, but I just never could find the one that could easily work with mine.
A call between two absolute crackheads.
Now, I tried to use simple methods like Google's voice or using Facebook's different voices that it has and, linking it with that with the API, but it never really fit with what I wanted for CC to have with its broodiness and sarcastic nature. So the next step was to train the AI to have that voice, right? If I can't have the Facebook voices or the Google voices, that doesn't fit, I have to make my own voice for the character. But unfortunately, everything that I tried to look for simply just didn't work with the setup that I already had. Half the time that I tried to do something, it just wouldn't function the way I wanted to. It would either also send it to a server for it to generate, or it would take forever. At times, it would take 3 minutes to generate just the voice itself, even for a short sentence like, okay, I'm here. Eventually, I had to actually remove this feature from CC because at one point, just after the 3rd time of using it, I could just never get the AI to function ever again. I had to load up a backup that I had prepared before even starting CC Can Talk thing. So if having the AI talk to me was a pretty hard thing, maybe I could talk to the AI. Nope. It's just a bit out of my skill level. I'm just not quite sure how to do it. I'm sure there's somebody watching right now, probably in the comments, saying that's a very easy job and anyone could probably do it. Maybe I could even do it if just doing some research. But I also do not want to do any more of that debugging. Originally, this was going to be a very optimistic project of mine. I wanted to recreate something that was already being made thanks to Neurosama with the rise of virtual VTubers. So I somehow needed to add a face to this man of an AI. So how do I do that? So it turns out making a live 2D model is very, very difficult. I have a whole different respect for those artists that create live 2D models for everybody. Like, it's a whole nother skill set that I never thought artists would have to deal with, but clearly it makes a lot of cash. So, keep doing what you're doing. Your guys are doing amazing jobs. So, of course, as a non-artist myself, how the hell do I do that? I don't know. Like, I don't even want to touch that subject. I didn't want to use commissioned work because, well, first off, that requires money, which I don't have. And second off, I didn't want to add just other people's work into something that I wanted to make on my own. Which, fair enough, doesn't seem like a very smart decision. But I like projects being personal in a sense. Believe it or not, I wanted to go even further beyond. I saw these AI tube things that got popular with a specific demographic of people, and I was like, yeah, let me just do that for my phone. Like, I really hate these other AI assistants, why not have my own to create? Yeah, I can't do that. I'd also thought about a Discord bot. A Discord bot is already something that I want to actually make. It's on the list of random shit I wanted to do. Remember, that's what the video was called. But then I also thought about something. Who am I going to make this bot for? If I make it for a lot of people, obvious for everyone to understand, I get flashbacks to Darth Vader in Fortnite and the creative things he wanted to say.
Hatsune Miku, you inquire about mommy ASMR.
And that wasn't at the fault of the actual AI, it's the fault of the people for making it want to say these sort of things. So without my other AIs and on top of AIs that they have to prevent things from like the things that Darth Vader said in Fortnite from happening with my Discord bot, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna learn a separate bot that maybe I could do for random shit I wanted to learn. I am currently at a point where I don't know what to do with my AI. I haven't done anything with it. I'm scared to pretty much touch it, and it should be left alone. Alone. Can't speak words today. There's obviously some things I can do. I can go look at forums and other sources like YouTube videos to figure out how to make my AI just a tiny bit smarter or something along those lines, but I just do not have the time nor patience anymore. Plus I wanted to make a video out of it, so I'm doing this now. But in the end, you reach the these guys that make these AI entertainers, they are way smarter than me and way more dedicated than me. I cannot even begin to describe how much of a difference I see from myself to them. Huge. If I sat down and learned for maybe a month or 2 or 3, I could possibly reach another level of this AI in an entertainment world. However, I just do not have the courage, patience, or endurance for something like that. But these people have made entertainer AIs, and I enjoy seeing them as entertainer AIs. I think there might be enough of them out there. There doesn't need to be another guy one or something along those lines. There are plenty of AI VTubers. Neurosama is kind of having a monopoly of them because, you know, there's 2 of them on there. But these people have AIs on top of AIs on top of AIs that all do different sort of things to create this entertainer AI in the end. Well, I think that is very interesting. I have no way to touch their level of skill. If I could have the opportunity to learn from some of these people on how they actually made their AIs to such a level, I would like be on my knees begging to like just show me their code, even if I don't understand it. Not to forget the incredible artists that already put so much effort into their models, for example. That's a whole other thing. All of them combined, you know, they all look so easy to do. It's why I thought even maybe I could take a step into this direction with no experience whatsoever in coding or in artist stuff or programming. They really make it just look so easy. But it's not, trust me, it's not. It's really hard. I don't have the skills, you know, like the skills with a Z. If I had an opportunity to actually learn what they did, how they did it, I would take it. You know, that's more content. But it's also an opportunity for me to actually learn. That's what this whole series is about. Me learning things that I want to learn. Maybe in the future of this series, I will eventually have the skill set of making this AI from all the different things I've learned of drawing, of, I don't know, video creation or something like that. In the end, I will have the skills to make the AI and could revisit this potentially in the future, you know, maybe 2 years down the line if I'm still doing this thing. So maybe in the future you will see CC once again. But for now, I think that's going to be the end of me making my AI. Hi, you made it to the end of the video. Congratulations. Eventually there'll be more videos like this, so I do hope you're expecting them. Please do remember to actually subscribe so you can see them. And, you know, stay safe and I'll see you in the next one.